Welcome back to Fourier transformation part 2. In part 1 we have studied what is the Fourier transformation and inverse Fourier transformation. That couple is called transformation pair. Then we have studied some transformations of famous problems, and we also saw the linear property and shifting property on time axis or t axis and on frequency axis or w or omega axis. Let's quick revise some of the results discussed in part 1 that will be helpful today in part 2. I told you the Fourier transformation of e to the power minus alpha t unit step function u0 to u0 t which have discontinuity at t equal to 0, or we can write e to the power minus alpha t heavy side function ht. You can see my part 6 lecture on Laplace transformation. I have discussed u0 t is nothing else heavy side function ht, and its Fourier was 1 over alpha plus I omega. Or we can conclude that Fourier inverse of 1 over alpha plus I w r omega, whichever notation you can use, e to the power minus alpha t u0 t. Now let's revise what is shifting theorem. I told you the shifting theorem also. Shifting theorem on omega axis or on frequency axis. I told you if Fourier transformation of ft is f omega and let omega not be a real number, then we have a result Fourier transformation of e to the power I omega naught t ft is f of omega minus omega naught. And if you want, you can use the inverse transformation. Fourier inverse of f of omega minus omega naught is equal to e to the power I omega naught t into ft. Second shifting was on t axis, on time axis. It was if Fourier transformation of ft as f omega and t not be any real number, then Fourier transformation of f of t minus t naught, shifted t on t minus t naught, it is equal to f omega e to the power minus omega t naught. Or we can say that Fourier inverse of e to the power minus I omega t naught, f omega is equal to f of t minus t naught. Now remember here, f omega is Fourier transform of ft here. So this was the quick revision I have discussed in lecture 1. These are the important points. Let's see one example based on shifting theorem. Example is find Fourier inverse Fourier transformation of e to the power 4I omega over 3 plus I omega. Now we have this type of result here. What is the result? Second shifting theorem we have on t-axis. Fourier inverse of e to the power I omega t naught f omega is equal to f of t minus t naught. Okay. Now compare it with these relation. You have t naught equal to minus 4. If you compare e to the power 4I omega, compare with e to the power, see here, it was minus I omega t naught, sorry, minus I omega t naught. So t naught is minus 4. And if you compare f omega, you have 1 over 3 plus I w. And from f omega you have important result. Fourier inverse of f omega is nothing else ft, because Fourier of ft is f omega. Now let's see the Fourier inverse of firstly f omega, that is 1 over 3 plus I w. And I told you the result earlier. This is the result. Fourier inverse of 1 over alpha plus IW is e to the power minus alpha t u0 t. Now if you compare, alpha is 3, so it is nothing else. It is the Fourier inverse of e to the power minus 3t u0 t. If you compare with this result, now you have ft, and you know that this is equal to this problem. Our problem is equal to f of t minus t naught. So it will be f of t plus 4. So t plus 4, because t naught is minus 4. You have ft here, e to the power minus 3t u0 t. So what will be the ft plus 4? If you see carefully, here you have shifting, or you can write f of t minus 0 here, and you have t equal to 0 is a point of discontinuity. T minus 0 is written in the form. So this can be written as f of t minus 4. Or you can equate t plus 4 equal to 0, you will get t equal to minus 4 is the point of discontinuity now. So you can write like this, e to the power minus 3 t plus 4, because ft is this one. So ft plus 4 will be e to the minus 3 t plus 4. What will be the h u naught t? Now u naught t will shift it to u minus 4t, because t point, t equal to 0 point is shifted to t equal to minus 4. So our point of discontinuity will be shifted from 0 to minus 4. You can draw by graph also. So this is our point of discontinuity now. Point of discontinuity, t equal to minus 4 is point of discontinuity. So this is the Fourier inverse. If you want, you can write in the interval also. When t less than minus 4, this value is 0. I told you, you can see part 6. This will be 0. If t is greater than equal to minus 4, this value is 1, u minus 4 into t. So ultimately it will be minus 3t plus 4. So this is the Fourier inverse of the given problem. So I have one more result, that is called modulation theorem. Modulation theorem is related to first shifting property or frequency shifting property. What is frequency shifting property? If Fourier transformation of ft is f omega, and omega not be any real number, then I told you Fourier transformation of e to the power I omega naught t, ft is equal to f of omega minus omega naught. Similarly, you find e to the power minus, or you can write like this, Fourier transformation of e to the power minus I omega naught t ft is equal to Fourier function f of w plus w naught, because w naught is now we have with minus sign. Here w naught positive, then you have to subtract. Here you have minus, then you have to add. Now if you use e to the power I w naught t is cos w naught t using Euler's theorem plus I sin w naught t, and substitute in these two equations and use the linear property of Fourier transformation. One time you add, one time you subtract, you will get two results. What are that two results? Fourier transform of ft cos omega naught t. I am not going with the proof, but I have given you sufficient hint. It is equal to 1 by 2 f of omega plus omega naught plus omega of omega minus omega naught. Look like cosine formula only. And Fourier transformation of ft sin omega naught t is equal to I by 2 f of omega plus omega naught minus f of omega minus omega naught. So This theorem is called modulation theorem. Next, we have one more important result: Fourier transformation of derivative. In the Fourier transformation of derivative, we have two results: derivative with respect to t and derivative with respect to frequency. So let's see first the derivative with respect to t. Statement is not very important in BTech level. If you are in master, if you are doing research or some PG course in mathematics, then statement has important role here. Let's see what is the statement. Let ft be continuous and kth derivative fkt for first derivative, second derivative up to nth derivative. It is representing the kth derivative. K can be any value 1 to n. B, piecewise continuous means derivative is also continuous on every interval minus L to L and minus infinity to infinity k minus 1th derivative for k equal to 1 to up to n converges. This is called absolutely convergence condition. Convergent. Let kth derivative for any k, every kth derivative goes to 0 as t tending to infinity for k equal to 0, 1, 2 up to n minus 1. 0 means there is no derivative. It means function is also tending to 0 as t tending to infinity. If Fourier transformation of f to ft is fw, then Fourier transformation of nth derivative of ft will be iw to the power n fw, iw to the power n fw, where ft, I told you this one, it tends to 0 means vanishes. Ft and all derivatives vanishes as t tending to infinity. As t tending to infinity. So this is a very, very important result here. So we have to remember this result. This will be useful. I'm not going into the proof of this theorem. Let's see Fourier transform of derivative with respect to omega Rw. So let ft be piecewise continuous on every interval minus L to L. Let minus infinity to infinity t to the power n ft dt converges. Converges means this is absolutely converges. Its integration is finite value or less than infinity. Then Fourier transformation of t to the power n ft. I told you this result in the Laplace of t to the power n ft, that was minus 1 to the power n derivative of nth derivative of capital Fs. That was derivative with respect to s. Here you have derivative with respect to omega, that is equal to I to the power n nth derivative of omega, or you can write I to the power n nth derivative with respect to omega of omega. Or if you take the Fourier inverse, nth derivative of f with respect to omega is equal to, this value will go to the right hand side, left hand side, and it will become I to the power minus n, or you can write minus I to the power n t to the power n ft. You can verify this result. I am using this result I equal to minus 1 over I. If you use this result, you will get this constant value. If you go in this left hand side, you will get this type of equation only. Let's see another result. Fourier transformation of an integral. Let ft be piecewise continuous. Piecewise, I told you several times, it means function may have finite number or countable number of discontinuities in the given interval. Piecewise continuous on every interval minus L to L, and again absolutely convergence minus infinity to infinity mod ft dt less than infinity or converges. Let Fourier transformation of ft as f omega and f omega satisfy condition that, and satisfy f omega equal to 0, then Fourier transformation of minus infinity to t f tau d tau, you can write ft dt also using integration first property, change of variable, 1 over iw or I omega f omega. So this is the property of integration. This is the property of integration. We have a next property that is called change of scale property. We have also studied this property in Laplace transformation, similar in the Fourier. Let Fourier transformation of ft as f omega, then if you change the scale here, f of at is equal to 1 over a f of omega over a. Here a is not equal to 0. You can prove this by using the simple formula. You can similarly prove the change of scale property as I discussed in Laplace. Similar proof as in Laplace transformation. Let's see one most important theorem that is called convolution theorem. So let ft and zt be piecewise continuous on every interval. Always we ask piecewise continuity here because continuity is a more stronger condition. If you supply a piecewise continuity, it means you are giving flexibility to function also. Means function may have some finite number of discontinuities also. Continuous means function cannot have any discontinuity, but in piecewise you function have some flexibilities like 75% tenderness. 25% tenderness is finite if suppose, and 75% is uncountable or not countable if I am supposing, then it is a piecewise continuity, zero attendance. If attendance is lifetime and you are taking some finite number of leaves, then you are a piecewise continuous function or piecewise present function in the class. Every interval minus L to L, and let both are absolutely convergent, mod ft dt comma minus infinity to infinity mod zt dt converges. Means absolutely convergent because we are taking magnitude side. Magnitude is also called absolute value, so it is called absolutely convergent. Denote Fourier transformation of ft as fw and Fourier transformation of zt at zw. Then we have very interesting result. Fourier transformation of f convolution g of t is given as fw zw, fw zw, or Fourier inverse of fw zw is equal to f convolution g of t, where convolution is defined as little bit changed here. F convolution g of t is equal to a minus infinity to infinity here. In the Fourier it is changed. F of u interval is changed. C of t minus u du. Integration is part the same as in Laplace. Limit is changed here, and this is commutative also. G convolution f is equal to f convolution g. And second result, if we take the convolution in omega, and we have another result, Fourier transformation of ft into gt. This is not convolution, this is a simple multiplication. Simple multiplication. Star is represented by the convolution. Then it is equal to 1 over 2 pi f convolution g of w. This is the convolution sign. Convolution. We can write like this also, 1 over 2 pi fw convolution gw. So first, in the first part we have convolution in t, now we have convolution in w. Or we can write Fourier inverse of f convolution g of w or omega. 2 pi we can take in the left hand side, so 2 pi ft zt, 2 pi ft zt. This is again a very important result. I'm not going in the proof of convolution theorem, and no need to prove it because it is not given in many standard books also. But if you want, you can prove by similar technique as a Laplace transformation. So let's see one example based on the convolution theorem. Using convolution, find the Fourier inverse of 1 over 12 plus 7 iw minus w square. If we see the function carefully, 12 plus 7 iw, this is an imaginary number I. So this can be written as 12 plus 7 iw plus I square w square, because I square is minus 1. Now you can solve as a quadratic question if you suppose iw as a t. If you take iw as a t, then it will become 12 plus 7t plus t square, and its factor will be 1 over 3 plus t, 4 plus t. You can see that. So it will be equal to 1 over 3 plus iw and 4 plus iw. So now you want Fourier inverse of 1 over 4 plus iw into 3 plus iw. That can be written as Fourier inverse of fw into gw, not convolution inside here. If we compare, what is our fw here? Fw is 1 over 4 plus iw, and what is our gw? Gw is 1 over 3 plus iw. Remember the result I told you, Fourier inverse of 1 over alpha plus iw was e to the power minus alpha t u0 t, or you can write e to the power minus alpha t ht, heavy side function, because both are same. So what will be the Fourier inverse of f here? Let's see in next page. What will be the Fourier inverse of 1 over 4 plus iw? Compare alpha equal to 4 here, it will be minus 4t u0 t, or e to the power minus 4t ht. This is equal to ft here. And what will be the Fourier inverse of 1 over 3 plus iw? This is equal to e to the power minus 3t u0t. I am using the first result of today. I have discussed on the first result of today lecture. You can see this is the first lecture I am using. First result, quick revision first result. Then it can be written as e to the power minus 3t ht. This is your gt. We know that the Fourier inverse of fw into zw is equal to minus f convolution g of t, and this is defined as minus infinity to infinity f of u z of t minus u du. So this can be written as minus infinity to infinity. What will be the fu? E to the power minus 4u hu. What will be the gt minus u? If we have gt look like this, then it will be e to the power minus 3 t minus u h of t minus u du. So we are integrating with respect to u. It means e to the power minus 3t we can take outside. This is e to the power minus 3t. It will be minus infinity to infinity e to the power minus 4u into e to the power plus 3u. So it will be e to the power minus u h of t minus u du. Let's see what is the integration of this. Now we know that what is the value of h of t minus u? It is a Heaviside function. If both are less than 0, if u less than 0 and t minus u less than 0, then this value is also 0, this value is also 0, so product will be 0. I told you in ht minus a, if you remember, this was 0 when t less than a, it is 1 when t greater than equal to a. And what about ht? ht was 0 when t less than 0, it was 1 when t greater than equal to 0. T can be written as t minus 0 only. 0 here a is equal to 0, a is point of discontinuity. So it will be 1 when u is greater than 0 and t minus u greater than 0. Inside function is greater than 0. So let's summarize it. It will be 0 when u less than 0 and t less than u. It is u greater than 0 and t greater than u. It means u greater than 0 and u less than t. If you merge these two conditions, u is between 0 to t, then its value is 1, otherwise its value is 0. So what will be our integration now? So our integration will become now fwgw is equal to e to the power minus 3t 0 to t. In the 0 to t, it is e to the power minus u and the value is 1 du, plus elsewhere the value will be 0. So it's look like convolution theorem, 0 to t fu g of t minus u, but it can be proved by here Heaviside function. It is equal to e to the power minus u with minus sign 0 to t. If you simplify it, you will get e to the power minus 3, and limit of you can see that from 0 to t only, 0 to t, 1 minus e to the power minus t, e to the power minus t, 1 minus e to the power minus t, and t is greater than equal to 0 because t is positive here. So this is the Fourier inverse of the given function. Let's see some more results. Fourier cosine transformation. So what is the Fourier cosine transformation? The Fourier cosine transform of ft is defined as, I am taking the cosine symbol. C means cosine, cos function. Ft is equal to 0 to infinity. Here limit is 0 to infinity, not minus infinity to infinity. Minus infinity to infinity. Ft cos omega t dt, and it is a function of omega, but I am representing cosine function. F of omega suffix c, it is representing the cosine transformation, and it's the inverse cosine transformation, inverse Fourier cosine transformation is given as inverse Fourier cosine transformation of fc omega, that is equal to ft is 2 over pi 0 to infinity. Remember 2 over pi. I'm not going in the proof of this theorem. fc omega cos omega t with respect to omega only, then only you will get the function of t. So this is the inverse Fourier cosine formula. Remember this formula. Let's see one example based on the cosine transformation. Find the Fourier cosine transform of ft, where I'm giving you two problems. I'm going to solve one, and one you will solve as a homework. When t is between 0 to L and it is 0 elsewhere. Second part, ft is equal to t when t is between 0 to L and 0 elsewhere. So first part I am going to solve. Fourier cosine transformation of ft is defined as 0 to infinity ft cos omega t dt. So it is equal to 0 to L only, because in other interval the value is 0. 1 into cos omega t dt plus 0. If you integrate it, integration of cos omega t will be sine omega t over omega 0 to L. If you apply the upper limit, you will get sine omega L over omega. Lower limit, the value will be 0. This is the cosine Fourier cosine transformation of the given function. Let's see Fourier sine transformation. Similarly, I have discussed the Fourier sine transformation. The Fourier sine transformation of ft is given as 0 to infinity ft sine omega t dt, and I am representing as f omega suffix in s. And inverse Fourier sine transform is defined as Fourier inverse sine transformation of fs omega equal to ft equal to 2 over pi 0 to infinity fs omega sine omega t d omega. Don't forget omega. With respect to omega, we have to integrate. Let's see the next result. Fourier sine and cosine transformation of derivatives. So this is again a very important topic, and many problems are asked in the other GATE exam. Earlier it was in GATE syllabus, now it is removed, and academics. So the next lecture is very important. We will discuss many examples based on the results or theorems today we are studying. So this lecture is a little bit difficult. So revise at least twice and see at least twice, and remember the results if possible. Then you can solve and you can apply the theorem very easily. So let ft and f dash t be continuous. F dash t means first derivative on the interval 0 to infinity. Let ft vanishes, ft and its derivative vanishes first derivative as t tending to infinity. Similar result we have discussed in Fourier transformation for nth derivative. And f double dash t second derivative be piecewise continuous on every sub interval, means small interval, subset interval 0 to L, then Fourier cosine transformation of second derivative of t with respect to t is given as minus omega square Fourier cosine transformation of ft minus f dash 0. and Fourier sine transformation of f double dash t is equal to minus omega square Fourier sine transformation of ft plus omega into f0 plus omega into fg. So this is the result for second derivative. We have a result for first derivative also. We will discuss only first and second derivative because in our syllabus we have to solve heat, Laplace and wave equation which are only up to second derivative with the help of Fourier transformation. So these results will be helpful in that lecture. So let's see for first derivative also. It's very simple. For first derivative, Fourier cosine transformation of f dash t, here ft is tending to 0 as t tending to infinity, and f dash t is piecewise continuous on the sub-interval 0 to 1. Remove the, you can simply write the conditions for first derivative also as you have written in second derivative case. It is equal to omega sine transformation fs omega. This is the sine transformation of ft minus f at 0. This is the given function at t equal to 0. And Fourier sine transformation of first derivative is given as minus omega cosine transform function of ft. Cosine transform function of ft. So these are the first derivative results. So this lecture is a very interesting lecture and theory based lecture. In next lecture we will solve very important and long question asked in many time by AKTU and other university exams. So let's revise this lecture twice, thrice and wait for third lecture. Okay, thank you.